What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Keep It Down podcast presented by DUBBY. I'm your host, Garrett, joined by my two co-hosts, starting with TC. TC, how you doing today, Ben?
What is up, everybody? I'm doing good, man. I'm ready to go, ready to get into it. Chapter's hot seat.
Hey.
I'm excited, man.
And Schmag, how you living, baby?
Good, man. This is some exciting stuff, and I'm sure you're about to tell the people about it right now. So why don't you go ahead and kick us off here?
Okay, so first things first, as always, you can find us on Instagram at Keep It Down Pod, and we recently made a Twitter. So now find the boys on Twitter, get some tweets. Schmag was already sending some shots at some different NHL teams and stuff, so be sure to check that out at Keep It Down _pod. So check us out on Twitter. It's in the link tree as well. So if you go to our Instagram, go to our link tree, take you to the Twitter. Um, so the boys have a little announcement on this fine Thursday evening. Moving forward, you will be able to watch and listen to all podcasts on YouTube. That's right. You did hear me correct. You will be able to watch all podcasts moving forward. So be sure to check it out. Subscribe. The channel on YouTube is called Keep It Down ! So go check it out. Schmag put all of our previous podcasts on there as well. So if you want to go back and listen to any of those, start from the beginning on YouTube and all that stuff. But moving forward, we'll have the video included so you can watch as well. And then you can also still just listen to the podcast if that's how you choose to listen. If you like to listen while you're working out or whatever, and you don't want to have video going. So we're still on Spotify, Google, Zencaster, all that stuff. So as per usual, go to the link tree. It'll take you directly to all those sites. And so, yeah, I mean, excited to be on YouTube, boys. Get some video rolling, let the people see what they're dealing with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
everyone a chance to see our beautiful faces as well as hear our beautiful voice. So it's gonna be good, man.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting too, and thank you everyone so much for listening. And everyone, I think we have, um, like 350 plays on the podcast. So I mean, everyone listening and everyone tuning in, and all the feedback is, kind of really been kind of leading up to this next step for us. So thank you everyone so much for tuning in and listening, and we look forward to seeing where else this takes us as well.
Boys, my seat is warming up just a little. I can feel it setting in already.
Yeah, it should be, man. Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, this is gonna be the third installment of our Hot Seat series. This episode is gonna feature none other than Chach,
Hey,
aka Garrett Curry. You're
let's
gonna be
go,
on the
boys.
hot seat today, man. So just kind of how we always do it. I don't know where exactly you want to jump in, but maybe just give us kind of a general timeline to kick us off, and I'm sure me and Schmog will stop you plenty along the way to clear things up and maybe ask some more specific questions as well.
For sure. Well, I mean, I think it's only right if we start at the beginning, right, boys?
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah, so, my story's pretty similar to the other two. We lived in Bear Valley for, I think I want to say I was 3 or 4 when we moved to town eventually. So, lived out there for a few years. Schmag let me fall off the stairs, and then we moved to town not too long after that. So, moved to town, and then kind of started getting my feet wet in some sports, man. Playing some t-ball here and there, Shout out River Dogs. Uh, I think even from an early age, it was just pretty obvious that I was very much taller than everyone else, pretty much
Yeah,
everyone else playing.
definitely.
And so I know mom's even told some stories about like wanting to send me to school like the year after, like with my current group of kids, or holding me back to the year after me. And she was like, "But if I sent you the year after, you'd have been 2 feet tall than 2 feet taller than everyone else." So I'm glad she sent me where she did. So, but the real sports journey probably begins. I mean, we already told the infamous soccer story, and that's really all I got for
Yeah,
soccer. I mean, at that point.
yeah,
So, but yeah, no, football, like, started when I was 8, freshman football. I didn't really have like a calling in football to start. Like, I kind of just showed up, like, not really knowing what was going to happen. So, like I said, played T-ball a little bit. So, I could throw the ball a little farther. And for some reason, being like a bigger kid, I was like in the middle to upper, speed category, if you will.
definitely.
And
Yeah.
so, I was, bigger kid like the lineman, but I was faster than all those kids, but like I wasn't quite as fast as like most of the skill position guys. And so somehow, some way, your boy finds himself a quarterback.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
definitely one of the biggest kids on the team, and you were playing quarterback now.
Which is so crazy too, because normally, I mean, first year players, I mean, most of the time, I mean, my first year, I got stuck on the line. Ty's first year got stuck on the line until the end of the season. So for you to go straight in and like be playing quarterback and starting at quarterback was a little crazy for us.
Yeah, dude. Just quite a culture shock, man. Honestly, like it's just so interesting because like it was like using an athlete in a way that has never been seen before, and like because like you're saying, the big kids are linemen in youth football, and that's just how it is. And so, I think it kind of threw a curveball to the other teams when the biggest kid was playing quarterback because then it was like it was the first read option offense, basically.
Yeah,
Like either freaking hand it off to the running back or keep it myself. Usually let the running back do all the work and then I score the touchdowns at the end. But yeah, no. So I played quarterback for my first 2 years actually. So first year I'm freshman, played quarterback, and honestly, starting out with football, it wasn't like my favorite thing off the rip. Which I don't know if that's
yeah,
how it is for everyone, kind of, but um, it just like it seemed like a lot. Like I play t-ball in little league and stuff, and so football's a hell of a lot different. Especially back when we were playing youth football. I'm not quite too sure how it is today, but so it wasn't necessarily my like favorite thing. Like, oh, I've just fell in love from football for the first time I played it. But as I kind of got older, moving into like my sophomore TYF season, then I kind of started like enjoying football like thoroughly. And
yeah.
so definitely made it a lot easier to, go to practice and games and all that stuff. So, um,
Were
yeah,
you
still,
still playing quarterback when you were a sophomore?
yeah. So still playing quarterback, just because I was kind of the only kid that did it, that's kind of in a way. Like, obviously, we had a backup or whatever, but, and then obviously when you're a sophomore, you're one of the older kids. So it kind of goes with that whole thing kind of situation. So, yeah, honestly, I mean, the hardest thing for me was the whole getting the snap situation. That was kind of the thing I struggled the most with. I don't know if it was because I was so much bigger than the other kids, and so like it made it more difficult to like receive the ball correctly. So yeah, that, and then I also was the kicker, boys. So I mean, you don't kick PATs in sophomore. I think it starts in like junior varsity maybe, but so yeah, also toe punching some kickoffs for the boys. So
Yeah, I kind of wanted to stop you here, Josh, because I wanted to paint the picture for the folks at home.
okay,
He was the biggest kid on the team, the biggest kid on the team, and this man had breakaway speed too, which is really fast for his age.
Yeah.
And then put the bucket helmet on it, and when we're talking about a bucket helmet, Schmug, what is it like?
Oh,
The original Revo Speed, just a regular
no.
Revolution.
Yeah, dude. Well, I mean, like the first helmet that Touch ever wore, and I mean, those of you that played football, it had like that giant, like
I
inner,
think it was
like
a bike.
yeah, like blue bladder in it that like you'd have to like inflate with the pump. But that helmet, I mean, they had to get it was like an adult helmet to like put on Chacho, and he was like a freshman and a sophomore, like just completely like bigger and faster than everyone else.
You're also
Yeah,
forgetting its
Chacha,
its
I wanted
greatest
you to
feature.
tell. Yeah, I wanted you to tell the flu game story. I don't know if that's when. I think that's when you were a sophomore, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Where you
yeah.
weren't feeling good. I think you guys were playing BHS.
Yeah, so we're playing. I think it's Central technically, but yeah, it's like BHS school at BHS, and so yeah, I mean, your boy caught a classic fall flu. Going around, the whole team passes around. You're squirting the Gatorade bottles in your mouth and all that stuff. So not that uncommon for the whole team to get sick at once, basically. And I was just not feeling hot, man. Like on the drive down, I'm just sitting in the way back of the van, just suffering through it. Got the fever, the sweating, the all that stuff going on. And then so we show up, I like could barely even like survive warm ups. Like I'm just
Yeah,
absolutely not in good shape, man. Just looking
yeah,
rough on all
and the
costs.
Bakersfield Heat too.
Yeah, the Bakersfield Heat, probably dehydrated all is all get out. I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna play. Or I think truthfully, I didn't want to play. But and then I remember meeting dad under the bleachers or something. He's like, "Hey, dude, check it out. You're just gonna go play. Like it'll be fine. You'll be fine." I was like, "All right, dude. Like
Dang.
if I die on this field, it's your fault." But so they probably popped me with like 800 milligrams ibuprofen or something and just sent me out there. But
Dang.
So yeah, no, and then I think I don't remember the stats exactly, but I probably had like 3 or 4 touchdowns and like 150 rushing yards maybe, and like a
From the
passing
quarterback
touchdown.
spot, man.
The
This dude is going
quarterback.
crazy.
Yeah, so definitely went nutty on that one. That's one of the the goodest memories I got. This is from youth football right there, man. The
Wait, I just
classic.
want to know how you
Yeah.
felt. Okay, because obviously, like, how did you feel after that game, though? Because there's no way that like you felt even halfway decent after all of that.
Oh well, no, but I mean that's nothing some classic Olive Garden can't fix, you know? Like
Oh, let's
Wash
go.
it all down with an Olive Garden, baby.
exactly,
Dang.
dude. So yeah, no, and then kind of moving forward, probably. I mean, probably as a sophomore too. I also, like we mentioned, I was young for my grade, and so I also ran into the same issue with the weight cutting thing as Ty did because I was a whole year younger, and so basically I had to be like under. I can't remember all the rules and regulations nowadays, but see, I also kind of ran into the dieting thing and all that stuff. So I don't remember it as being as difficult as it was for Ty, maybe probably because Ty was
Mhm.
a little more lean per se, but um, so yeah, I mean, it wasn't super difficult. Mom and dad were always super good about getting us whatever we needed. So making sure we had the right food. And I just remember distinctly always eating pork rinds and stuff like that. Like that's just always the thing that I think about whenever I think about dieting and youth football. So yeah, no. And then,
Yup, chicharrones.
nothing
Mhm.
better, man. Um, so yeah, then kind of moved up to JV. And this is kind of where I started to kind of find my stride. I was a bigger kid, but then also, started kind of going all over the place here. But when I was a freshman and sophomore, I wasn't quite savvy with using my size to my advantage. I was a big on the stiff arm, but really I just wanted to run around the kids. And then
Mhm.
going into my JV season, I was coached by Bob and the Damas brothers and all those guys, and I believe Jay coached us as well. But and they kind of taught me how to that if I hit them, then I'm gonna win that battle most more times than not. So I think I played the wing spot that year.
Mhm.
Um, so moved away from quarterback, and then just really started learning how to run the football, man, and be physical and all that stuff. And so I'd say probably JVs when I started like actually coming into my own, football body and all that stuff, and learn how to play with high intensity and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I
many
think it was really
many
like the first time like we kind of like saw you like grow into like your I mean, really, I mean, like you said it, like your size and like how much like bigger you were than everyone else. And I remember just getting onto you all the time because like you would get tackled like by these little tiny kids like out in the open field, and we'd be like, Josh, like, what are you doing, man? Like, why didn't you just run that kid over?
for
And then he'd
sure.
say
Yeah,
something
like
stupid like, I tried, or like something dumb, but like,
yeah, like his first couple of years that would happen, but later on in his
yeah.
career that was definitely not the case.
Yeah. I think it's kind of just what you're saying, Chach. Like I think with the coaching and like you really just kind of for the first time, you're like, oh, I'm way bigger and way stronger and faster than almost everybody on the field. So yeah, there was a
Yeah,
definite
Yeah.
shift for sure.
I don't know if it was half me and half like me playing quarterback and not really having a second option that could do what I did with the same like kind of scheme. So I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of both, but I definitely didn't like hitting kids as much as when I was younger as like JV and moving forward. Yeah, I think I played middle linebacker in the wing spot. I don't remember what letter it is, but yeah, never. This is a funny story about me actually. Never made it past the first round of playoffs till I was a junior in high school. So kind of not too much postseason glory or anything like that. Also, man, we just had some rough years in youth football. Like it always seemed like we either had a really good offense or a really good defense, but we never had these teams that were just insane on both sides of the ball all at the same time. So 2AF was it was I mean you got to learn somehow, but it was a little bit of a learning curve for sure, especially when you guys are doing what you're doing. I think in when I was on JV, Schmag was winning CIF championships, so a little bit of that comes with the territory. But yeah, no, and then going into my varsity season of TYF, actually in the little kickoff classic scrimmage thing, I broke this bone on my foot. I can't remember the name of it, but it's basically what holds your pinky toe onto your foot. Fracture that puppy like almost clean off.
Yeah.
And so, because I actually got stepped on by like some lineman or something. And so basically, it sat out all of my varsity season until we actually played in the toilet bowl. I think we won 2 games the entire season. And we played the same Wasco team with the kid who broke my foot in the first place. So,
Mm.
but yeah,
You
then
did have
just
quite the revenge game, if I remember correctly, though. Didn't you pop off in that game too?
yeah, I think it was like 213 yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that. So yeah, definitely got the rock quite a few times in that game. So yeah, no, so that's kind of how my TYF career wrapped up. 2-win season, got to play in the loser bowl, but that was really it, a scrimmage in a loser bowl. So
Same.
it's kind of like that sometimes. And then
Yeah, Chach, like I did have a question for you though, like especially from your early playing days, like really any sport, do you feel like you benefited from like having two older brothers and us being so competitive and stuff, like just playing basketball in the alley and like playing pickle in the front yard, like having to compete against two guys that are bigger than stronger than you all the time? Do you think that gave you an advantage when it came to your peers and your competition your own age?
I think so, because like anything against you guys, like it felt like the cards were stacked against me just because you guys were bigger, stronger, faster, like you mentioned. And so, like once I got to playing kids my own speed, it was like this is nothing. Like it's like it's all mental. Like I'd done this with my both of my like getting laid out by TC in the front yard. Like I went head to head with TC and survived it. Like what's some kid my age from Frontier gonna do to me? Like nothing.
Right.
So I think it definitely helped, and like I said, watching you guys succeed at the next level and all that stuff definitely was inspiration for sure. And also just like being around in general, the pancake breakfasts and schmagling sod at Warrior Park and all that stuff, just kind of seeing like the inner workings of how things are operated and ran at the next level definitely helped, I think. And
Yeah.
TC just brought me to another good talking point in basketball, baby. um, eighth
Yeah,
grade basketball.
because I mean, unlike Ty and I, Chach, you were a very much a multi-sport athlete, and you were very very proficient in every single sport you played.
Yeah, you
Yeah, like
played
I,
So
sports year round for a
year
lot of years.
literally year round.
yeah,
So why don't you get into some of that? Like what sports did you play? When did you start playing those sports? All that jazz.
yeah. So baseball, I played t-ball and then went right into like little league. I only played little league till 6th grade. Like once you can go from the minors to the big field, quote unquote. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I actually found this funny picture the other day of me and my baseball team. We're like standing for the national anthem or whatever, and I am literally like 2 feet taller than my entire team. You guys are
Yeah.
gonna die when you
Yeah.
see it, dude. It's so funny. Um, yeah, no, and then like all star baseball is also a good talking point, dude. Like, so you have a little all star team, and you like travel to like a central city. It's kind of like the World Cup in a sense. All the teams travel to one town, and they like basically play the tournament. And so those were always a
Mhm.
lot of fun. I remember Ty and Schmag tagging along a few times. We played in Bishop a couple times, and so those are always good memories, man. And then yeah, like I said, kind of faded away from baseball as I got a little older. It just wasn't really for me. Kind of wanted to put more of my energy into football and basketball because baseball almost interferes with football once you get into like spring drills
Mhm.
and all that stuff. So get into
Right.
a little bit of that. Um, and then basketball, played some like rec league, like TVRPD when I was growing up. Um, Never really too serious about it. Like Schmack said, I was a bigger, which in low level basketball, that's really all that matters most of the time. If you're coordinated and bigger than the other kid, then it's
Back
usually
them
going to go in
down,
your
baby.
favor. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, and then middle school basketball was a lot of fun, man. I thoroughly enjoyed middle school basketball, dude. We had some nice little teams. So we were
You did.
we
Yeah.
we ran like this little gritty, like just complete like smash mouth basketball because funny enough, Ryan Grimes, he coached all of us in the high school level of football. He was the 8th grade PE teacher at the middle school, and so he's also the basketball coach. And so we always got into some good practices and just a bunch of memories with the boys playing basketball, man. um Yeah, it's kind of all I can think about for other sports that I played.
Yeah, I got a funny story about your middle school basketball years, Chach, and I think you might
Okay,
already know what it is.
I think I do.
But right around the time when Chach is in, I think it's eighth grade basketball. Cam Newton is just absolutely dominating the NFL world, right? And Cam Newton's signature move when he scores is the Superman, right? You score and then you rip the shirt off your chest, exposing the Superman S on your chest or whatever, you know. And so like Chacha's getting ready for the game or whatever, and like me and my friend keep telling him like, dude, like if you score, you got to do the Superman, dude. If you score, you got to do the Superman, and like that's definitely not Chacha's personality at all to do
Uh,
that, like especially in a game or anything. And so, anyways, we go over to the gym, and Chach just starts going crazy in the gym, man. Like for middle school basketball, he is dominating. And then I remember he like spins and scores or something. He's running down the court, sees me in the stands, and pulls off the Superman, bro. And I was like, no way. And
It was a
Chach, I'm
it
sure
was
you.
a it was a classic Dr. J skyhook from the free throw line,
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you were going nuts.
dude. Our eighth grade team ran some teams up, dude. Like
it was so
we
much fun to
just
watch, man.
It
it was
really
a lot of
was.
fun. Some of my fondest memories of middle school are probably playing middle school basketball. Honestly,
Yeah.
just like all the homies and like basketball's so interesting because you're inside and like you're all so close. Like so,
Yeah.
like the talking and all that stuff is just elevated to a new level, man. So yeah, definitely basketball, man. It goes crazy. Yeah, basketball's a ton of fun, man. Anyone with little kids, make them play basketball. Here's the reasoning. Winter, it's indoors, endless. That's all you need. So and it's a lot of
Mhm.
fun. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then so kind of wrapped up my middle school sports career, if you will. And then Coach Grimes pulls me in one day. I think it was after basketball practice actually. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna pull you up to JV with I think it was only me and maybe four other kids, four or five, not too many." So I
And
was like, "Okay,
sorry,
awesome!" Like
Josh.
just
Were you surprised at all when you got that information? Because I mean, you had just come off of your varsity season of TYF, and you had broken your foot. You had only gotten to play one game. Were you a little bit surprised that you got that call up, or did you pretty much know that you were getting the nod?
like I knew I had the talent. Like I knew I was a good enough player to play on JV, but yeah, like just with
Hmm.
the injury and everything, like I wasn't expecting it.
Sure.
Like, oh, I'm probably going to be on JV or whatever the case is. So, yeah, go up to JV, start grinding out all this summer stuff and all that whatnot. Start lifting, kind of getting some grasp on a diet of sorts.
Hold
Kind
on, let
of
me
getting
let me
into
stop
that.
you right there. A random thing just popped in my head, and we didn't go over this with Ty either, but I think Ty started a little earlier. What was your first experience like in the weight room like for high school football or like in general? Because I know for me it was like a huge shock, and I never really like lifted like that before. And so like what was it like going and like getting on a weightlifting program and starting to head down that road?
Well, I mean, I think the first time, I think mom actually took me and TC to the gym, the gym, and
Hmm.
he was like, "Oh yeah, we're running a special." It was like obscenely cheap. It was like $20 for all four of us to get a membership or something. I think Schmag might have been at
Yeah.
college or something like that. And
Hmm.
so, probably like my whole eighth grade year, we were kind of going to the gym on and off a little bit, and obviously TC had been lifting for a while at that point, so he kind of pointed me in the right direction, kind of thing. Yeah, but lifting as a team's a little different, because like it's a
Hmm.
regiment. You can't just go to the gym and do whatever you feel like. It's
Yeah.
you
Right.
got three sets of squats, two sets of cleans, whatever the case is. So, and it's all like team. I mean, lifting on JV is a little different because it's not as serious, like on varsity, where it's like an actual training regiment. JV is more of just like a morale kind of team building thing, if you will.
Hmm.
Say you're getting the kids stronger and all that stuff. But yeah, so I mean, I'd say it wasn't quite a culture shock, but once you kind of start moving up and getting more serious and weightlifting and all that stuff, it definitely is, man.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's probably like when I kind of fell in love with lifting, man. Like just the whole thing, man. being in the gym with the boys and chopping it up and lifting and working
Yeah.
hard and all that stuff. So yeah, JV was it, it was something, man. So kind of get through summer and all that good stuff. And then in that damn 3-way scrimmage, my freshman year, we're playing South and Highland or something like that. And I'm taking I was playing fullback mainly um, on the JV team, and so took the first team fullback reps on JV, and then it was like second team defense or whatever, getting towards the end of the scrimmage, and so they like put me in the middle linebacker spot, and so they're on like this jet sweep. So I'm running out there, and dude like cuts up to bring it upfield, and I try to plant on my left leg, and sure enough, your boy blows out his knee. So
Yeah.
torn ACL, completely torn meniscus. So, but that's not what we kind of thought at first. Uh, it was kind of a general consensus among the trainers that they thought it might be a sprain or a tweak or something like that. And so, actually, I went and started seeing Doctor Death. For all of you listening, if you know Doctor Death, But for those of you who don't, he's just the team physical therapist for the high school. So anyone from Tehachapi probably knows a story about Dr. Death or two. So, started doing some aggressive treatment, trying to get on top of it and kind of see if we could get back to where we wanted to be and play again. And so we actually got really close, man. Like I was back in practice couple days a week or something like that in pads, like really thinking that I was going to get back in it. And then all the shit kind of just hit the fan. I just got like this kind of insane like swelling and like I couldn't even straighten my leg all the way. And so I don't know if something like got folded in the wrong place or something like that. So then one day Dr. Death's like, "Hey, I think you should go see a orthopedic surgeon." And that was kind of like the first time that I was like, "Wait, like the surgeon? Like what are we talking like I thought this was like a sprain kind of thing."
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, sure enough, go to the shout out SCOE, Southern California Orthopedic Institute in Bakersfield. If you have any sports related injury, go there if you can. I mean, they're great. I will put all my eggs in that basket. So, go in, get in there. Doctor comes in, takes one, the little ACL test where he sits on your foot and pulls on your knee. He says, "Yep, you got a torn ACL." And I'm pretty sure that I just broke down and just like lost all my marbles in that moment, in that doctor's office.
Yeah.
So, um,
Definitely, man. I mean, like, you know, for all of us, we're so competitive and like we love the game so much that like had to have killed you just to be like he says those couple of words and all of a sudden like your season's over. You know what I mean?
exactly. And like, yeah, that was the thing. Like I already said, broke my foot when I was on varsity in TYF, and this is the first scrimmage of JV in high school, my freshman year. So, I mean, that's almost 2 years of football that I missed out on
Yeah.
potentially. So, yeah, it was, yeah. So, doc's like, "Hey, we're going to do surgery. We're going to use your hamstring, one of your hamstring cords." And so I was like, "Okay, perfect." Schmag had just gone through this maybe a year or two earlier. So none of it was super new to mom, dad, or to any of us really. So do that. And then after that, man, probably just, I mean, those are probably some of the hardest months of my life, man. Like, you go in independent study for surgery, not seeing the boys anymore, physical therapy. Um, Also, got to get about a shameless plug to Mo Kramer. For anyone
Mm-hmm.
listening from
Yeah.
Tehachapi, just, I mean, I owe the world to that guy. He brought me through a lot of shit personally, and obviously a hell of a rehabber. So, I think I got back to fully healthy in like 6 months or something like that. So running, cutting, sprinting, all that stuff. And so,
Yeah. Chach, before you move on past it, I just want you to kind of talk about what the rehab was like, timeline kind of stuff. Did they set goals for you to achieve? And then, like, how did that work?
yeah, so basically, you go to surgery, and I think it's maybe you rest for 4 weeks or something like that, somewhere around there. Maybe you go in a little before that. But so basically, when you first go in, they do like their general assessment, which, I mean, if you have surgery, that's, kind of telltale. But so a lot of it was band work at the beginning, like they like set you up on these little like triangular blocks like with your knees over blocks, and they'd have you like squeeze a medicine ball, but they'd like
Mm-hmm.
put the resistance outwards. And so you're kind of just building all those muscles, around your knee that are basically supporting your knee. Because, for those of you that don't know listening, the ACL is twisting, cutting, all that good stuff. So, basically you're trying to strengthen everything to take a lot of the strain out of that when you're rehabbing and all that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff like that, medicine ball work with bands. A lot of stuff. They had this cool little vibra plate thing that you stand on. And like
Mm-hmm.
just shakes everything, like all the lactic acid out of your muscles if you're sore or whatever, stuff like that. And then probably some light jogging. A lot of time on the bike, like a seated bike. Um, he'd just be like, "Hey, just ride this thing for like 25 minutes if you want." And like I said, Mo was huge, man. He'd let me say after hours if I needed a session on Saturday. He'd let me come in and not charge me for it, or he was just on whatever I needed 24/7. So can't give Mo enough flowers on this one. But then towards the end, kind of mixed in a little more weightlifting kind of stuff. A lot of explosiveness stuff, box jumps, split Bulgarian squats, even just running outside or around the block, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like power skips, a lot of explosive kind of stuff towards the end, because at that point I was just raring to go. And yeah, they set these little micro goals of like, like I think the first one was like being able to lift yourself onto your toes, like completely unsupported for like 15 or 20 seconds or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then like towards the end, it was like a little, um, it was basically like a series of tests that you do on your right knee. So it's all like single leg stuff. Like
Yeah.
it'd be like literally like a broad jump, but you have to use one leg and land on two. And so you do it on your right leg and then you do it on your left leg. And then once they got into a certain percentage of each other, then I could go and like, um, get my clearance letter from the doctor to like join uh, you know, team drills and all that stuff again. Cause I think I got my surgery in late October, if I remember correctly. And then, so like I said, 6 months from then, I mean, that puts you in damn near May at that point. So, I mean, football is already kind of clicking into high gear already. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that summer was pretty light, if I want to say. Not a whole lot of lifting, mainly just cardio kind of stuff like that. So, um, yeah, and then you get the brace, and then you can kind of go ham once you get the knee brace installed. So, kind of gives you that extra layer of trust. But yeah, no, the ACL is a real motherfucker, man. Wouldn't recommend for anyone out there listening.
Zero out of
It's
Yeah.
10.
it's a lot of rehab and it's strenuous and all that stuff. So, but yeah, no, had a huge, like I said, good group of rehabbers. Like I said, Scoey, huge shout out. All the doctors are great. I mean, obviously, he did great work because never blew out again. So we take that. Yeah, and then so at this point, I'd missed 2 full seasons. So, and I'm already young for my grade. So I went from playing against kids that were 11 or 12 to playing full JV football after missed a whole year. So 14, 15 year olds. And obviously I kind of made the choice to stay down just because I felt like kind of being plunged right into varsity, um, coming off an injuries wasn't really my cup of tea personally, because
Right.
I didn't even really have a position figured out, or really, I mean, like anything like that. So kind of moved into my sophomore year, and this is actually where I hit my defensive lineman arc in my high school career, man. Um, so yeah, played a little fullback on offense, but then I think we just had like too many linebackers or something, too much talent at the linebacker spot, and so they're like, "Oh, you ever play defensive line?" And of course, I'm like, "No," but honestly, dude, playing defensive line is a lot of fun for all
Mm-hmm.
those listening. Um, I learned a lot about how offenses work and stuff like that, which is, I mean, probably kind of goes into understanding the offense is trying to take it apart kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, had a decent season overall. I think we lost one game to Centennial. So, but, one league and then, nothing super crazy. I mean, really at that point, I was just trying to play a full season of football without getting a season-ending injury at that point.
Right.
So just
Were you doing your thing on offense or no?
not as much, man. I was like they kind of throw me in for on the goal line or short yardage situations, but mainly I spent most of my time with the defense, which is kind of interesting
Yeah.
because I had never
Mhm.
played defense really. Like obviously in youth football you play both sides of the ball or whatever, but I'd never been a defensive guy. So yeah, and then I kind of just got dumped into it, and it was a lot of fun, man. So got a couple sacks, a couple safeties, stuff like that. So which I kind of never had an opportunity to do. So
Yeah, but like you said, man, like at that time had to have been like a great feeling just to get through the whole season healthy.
Yeah.
exactly, just be like I actually got to play 10 football games and make it through to tell the tale. So yeah, um, then at the end of the season, um, Coach Denman pulls us aside, the classic, hey, we're gonna pull you up for playoffs. You're probably not gonna play, kind of thing. And so move up for playoffs. Dude, I actually have a funny story about getting pulled up for playoffs in practice. So we're the meat squad, obviously. That's what you do. So I'm playing defensive tackle like I do. And they are just talking all this shit. And specifically, it was Jake Snyder, which is the son of athletic director Pat Snyder, who's a coach on the football team. And they are just talking all this shit up and left and right. Oh, JV this, JV that. So I don't remember the situation, but we were running like goal line or something, and he's just still just jawing all this shit. And so they they like go to snap the ball, and it was on two or something, and I just like got up and completely just fucking decked the kid out of his stance, basically. It was on two, and so everyone starts laughing. Angel Garcia, Jake Walters, they're all on that team, and so everyone's gassing me and laughing at the boy. So it's definitely an interesting little dynamic when you move up to varsity, man. So,
Yeah, definitely.
um, yeah, and then playoffs. I think we made it to the second round and ran into Tulare Western, which will become a theme. But actually, I think I want to. Yeah, we were in South Dakota actually when the team got eliminated. So,
Yeah.
I had to go to Coach Demon and say, hey, check it out. We're going to South Dakota to see my brother. We've had this planned for a long time, and of course he was like, whatever, you're not going to play anyways, kind of thing. So,
Right.
yeah, Tulare Western gets us for the first out of many. So, and
Oh.
then after that, is kind of when I sunk my teeth in and was like, okay, made it through a season, obviously going to play varsity next year. Like, it's time to, lock in and grind it out, baby. So, really took the weight room and conditioning and speed camp and all that stuff very seriously moving from sophomore to junior year. We had a really good team, actually. Bunch of talent returning. So we're, kind of one of those teams where like, hey, maybe we can start getting back to where we need to be, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So season does not start out quite like we want it to. I think we started 0-4, 0-5, I want to say. And so not how you want to start, man. So, but in the summer, I had actually made a transition to tight end because I
Mm-hmm.
was playing my normal fullback and middle linebacker spot, and again, Coach Demon's just like, hey, we have a couple fullbacks that we like, but we don't really have a tight end that we like, which you're running the wing tee anyways, and the blocking is fairly simple, so. I mean, all of my years of high school, I kind of learned something different about football, if you will. So,
Uh-huh.
played the tight end spot, so learned a lot about blocking that I'd never learned before. I'd always been a running back or a quarterback, or you played on the defensive line a little bit, but I'd never like done any like real blocking or stuff like that. So, or like have to know an assignment, what guy you're supposed to have in this situation or that situation. So,
Mm-hmm.
In the
um,
trenches, man.
Oh yeah.
exactly, you're over there with the big boys during skill position groups. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
yeah, and then so like I said, I think we lost 4 or 5 in a row, and then we rattled off 7 straight after that. So, and then we still won league. So I'm pretty sure we won league all 4 years of my high school. But
Mm-hmm.
and we're kind of a hot hand, So, we get like an easy North in the first round or something. So, get it, take care of business there. Then we get like a Independence or something weird like that, like a weird Bakersfield school in the second round. And so, we got two home games. So we're like, hey, like that's two out of the way. We just got to go win one on the road and then we're in the ship. Like all bets are
Yeah.
off at that point. So we go to Tulare Western, I believe. I'm pretty sure we kicked three field goals and they kicked three field goals and going into the fourth. And so kind of we're
Oh.
just grinding this thing out, just absolutely kicking field goals left and right. And and then they score like late in the fourth quarter, and it's kind of like Schmag's last CIF drive. We get the ball back, and something happens on the kickoff, and so we're at our own like 10 or 12 or something like that, with like a couple minutes left in the game. And so we take her all the way down the field, and then we just get absolutely Friday night lights on the goal line. Get stopped three times in a row on goal to go, and that's how it ends, man. So came up short. Or no, I think they might have kicked a fourth field goal. So I want to say if we scored, we won. But anyways, so yeah, drive all the way down the field, set up shop at the goal line. We're like, oh, this is a wrap. This is over for these kids. And um, got stuffed three times in a row. So I mean, that's how it goes. That's how you got to play the hand you're dealt sometimes. So
Definitely huge comeback though from starting the
Yeah.
season off like what 0-4 or whatever you said, and then to making it all the way to the semis. It sounds like.
yeah, yeah. Like I want to say we're 0-4, 0-5 or something. And then all the seniors kind of pulled us into the weight room and we had like some team meetings, like kind of like you'd see in, higher rank leagues and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and they were none too pleased, which, once you're a senior, you kind of understand why they were none too pleased. But,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, we turned it around, man, and started clicking. And once you get some momentum, and I will say we had a very difficult league in my last 2 years of high school, or sorry,
Yeah.
non-league. I think BCHS, Paraclete, Garces, and Burroughs, and then so I mean some pretty tough competition. Paraclete's a prep
Absolutely.
school out of Antelope Valley. Garces is um, we got 42-7 by Garces at Garces, which is not exactly ideal. So yeah, junior season, not too many personal achievements really. Like I said, I was playing tight end, so I was more of a team player. I caught a couple of touchdown balls on power pass and stuff at the goal line, but nothing too crazy. Just more of a personal growth year, if you will. So
And so, Chuck, are we getting so going into your senior season here? Um, are we getting into new coaching staff territory here?
yeah,
Yeah. So
okay.
why
I
don't
guess
you? Well,
okay. I guess I should actually rewind for a second, really quick, because this is going to tie in later. So my sophomore year is actually funny enough when I met my wife Danae in high school. So I was a 14-year-old,
huh,
and she was 16 at the time. So, um, so yeah, started dating Danae when I was a sophomore. No, maybe the end of no, yeah, yeah, beginning of my sophomore year. And so this whole time, Danae and I are together doing whatever, as you do. So, but that'll tie in later. But obviously, just thought I should throw it in chronological order. So,
very nice, very nice.
yes. So, moving into my senior season. So, kind of the last little stretch of my junior year. One day, Coach Denman pulls me, um, and basically my core group of friends. So, Noah, Connor, Patrick, Matt, Justin, kind of thing. So
Shout out the
he
boys.
he calls us into his office and he's like, "Hey, I just want you to hear it from me," kind of thing. Um, I I put a lot of thought into this and made the decision that I'm not going to be coaching next year. And so we're all like, "Holy shit!" Because I mean, for everyone listening, Coach Dimon coached for what 35 years. Is that right?
Hmm. Yeah.
302 one wins. So, I mean, he's been the coach for a really long time. And then, we got to be the guinea pigs who get thrown in the fire with a new coach. So, but we, no shade to the guy or anything, of course, but it just like, kind of as our junior year was winding down, it just kind of seemed like he was ready to move on to his next thing, which I'm sure,
Yeah.
because I mean, they're volunteers putting in all this extra time and watching film and all that stuff. I'm sure it's a lot. And I'm sure Coach Dimon also wants to be with his wife at some point, So, of
Right.
course, not sliding the guy or anything, but you could just kind of tell that he was ready to kind of move on with his life and, enjoy life for what it is. So, of course, we weren't mad or anything like that or salty about it, but it was just like, man, like we got to go out there with a new coach next season. Like it's not the wing T. It's not like what like like all the pressure is on us now. Like
Right.
we're them. Like what are they going to trot out there without Coach Denman? And so we're all just like pure speculation. Like who's the coach going to be? We're here in Roblins. It's going to be some dude from out of town. This, that, and the other. And then over the intercom at school one day, like during like the little morning announcements or whatever, they're like, "Oh, and there's going to be a football meeting in the gym at lunch." So, okay, cool. Like, probably we're going to figure out who the coach is going to be. And so, we all go in there, we're waiting, we're like looking for people to show up. Who's it going to be? It's going to be someone from out of town. It's going to be a teacher who we got. And so, none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Doug DeGear walks in the room, baby.
Yes,
So,
sir.
which he was the head coach of or maybe not the head coach, but he always coached the freshman team with Coach Scotty.
Yeah,
So,
I played for him my freshman year.
exactly. So everyone knows Coach DeGear. They'll probably say something about him yelling or something like that. That's probably the memory that they'll have of him playing football, yelling
Yeah,
at him all
he was
around.
also the English teacher at the high school as well.
Yeah. So he's a sophomore English teacher, which I also had him. So he roasted me plenty already before he was even my football coach. So yeah, so go to meetings. We're like, wow, Coach DeGear. How is this going to shape out? And so another pretty typical summer. Speed camp, 2-a-days, all that stuff. Pretty standard summer. Dude, we don't talk about speed camp either. Oh my gosh, dude.
It's a grueler, man.
Yeah.
So, gosh, is it okay? So, Coach Paul Martinez is his name. You might know him if you're from California. He's like a I don't know what the correct I don't know if he's a preferred provider, but basically he provides like these Nike speed and strength classes. Basically, is that how I describe them? And so, actually going to backtrack real quick. I remember Mom actually signed me and Ty up for speed camp. I want to say Ty was probably like middle school, early high school, maybe.
Yeah, I think early high school is when
Yes.
it first got introduced.
Yeah, and it was just like some dude, like a group of dudes who just showed up to Meadowbrook Park in Tehachapi, and they just did all like these speed drills, like hurdles and different stuff like that. So yeah, and then Coach Denman got in with them somehow, and so they always came out for the full summer, and gave us it was super cheap, like $15 a head for the whole summer of speed training, like, and it came with a shirt, so like, of course everyone's gonna do that, and so just gruelers, man. They would set up like all these like pro style drills and shuttle drills and flags and all these like intricate plyometrics like A skips, B skips, which like it'll just kick your ass in a way that you never even knew was possible, man. Like just like make you putting your body through all this stuff in the summer and the heat and all that stuff. So yeah, speed camp was a essential part of childhood, man. So
Well, definitely, especially because you go to weightlifting in the mornings at 6 a.m. and then you go home and eat and sleep or whatever you're gonna do for a little bit, and then like right in the afternoon is gonna be speed camp, so you're just out there running around again. Like, definitely grueling to be running those 2-a-days in the summer.
yeah, thankfully they moved it to like so we'd have a lift and speed camp in the morning. So he's kind of got all the not so desirable items out of the way, and then so when you came back in the afternoon, it was just like a team practice. So,
Sure.
Which is definitely better because you can get through lift and speed camp, take a nap, and then you're like, okay, I'm not gonna have to put my body through that again. So
Yeah.
yeah, so speed camp just whoops your ass for a whole summer, basically. We'd always make little jokes like, "Oh, maybe they're not showing up today because they like drive from Bakersfield or something." So, and then you'd see their
Ah.
car pulling up the driveway, and you're just like, "Oh gosh." So, but reluctantly, you get out there and do it anyways, dude. My senior year, we always had this like weird thing of people just not going to speed camp.
Mm,
It was so
What do you
strange.
mean?
Like they would just go home after the lift
mm,
because it was like voluntary in air quotes. So,
yeah.
yeah, so we always had to like basically self police ourselves. Connor's throwing out tweets on Twitter saying you got to show up to speed camp and all this stuff. So yeah, just a mess, man. But yeah, so worked really hard going into my senior season on lifting and speed camp and team practice and all that stuff. And so I really
Do you feel
felt
like that
like it
was the
was.
most like prepared you were for a season after going through all that in the summer?
Oh, absolutely, because it was like kind of like so JV, summer drills or whatever, like really nothing. And then varsity, I was like, holy, like this is all new. But like my senior
Mm,
season, I was like, this is how it's gonna go. Like we're gonna get through this and then get in the season and we're just gonna get cracking right away. Like there's no adjustment period. You're just ready to rock at that point. So
right.
um yeah, and so we kind of revamped our whole team. We started running a different offense. We kind of ran this little pistol offense, either like pro style under center or out of the shotgun. And so,
And
but I mean,
another position change for you, right?
yeah. So I went back to fullback. So they had this position. It was called dozer. That's the name of it. So it's basically you're like a tackle in the backfield. You kind of see the 49ers nowadays, how they'll kind of bring Trent Williams into the backfield and all that stuff. So I mean that's basically it, but you just get the ball a bit more. So yeah, I ran a lot of pistol stuff, a lot of power looks, a lot of, little like little misdirection kind of stuff, in between the guards, trap plays, stuff like that. Quick passes, all that good stuff. So, and then yeah, my senior season basically kind of went the same way that my junior season did, besides one thing. So, I believe we get Burrows at home completely waxed, like 35-7. And we just got completely punched in the mouth, just demoralized. So we're just like how are we going to recover from
Mm,
this? And then the next week we have Garces at home, and they went and played like I I can't remember the name of the school off the top of my head. I want to say it was Central Fresno or something like that, and they
mm.
like lost by a touchdown. And so we were like, "Oh shit! Like this is
Yeah,
going to
these
be a
boys are
tall
looking
task."
good.
So where it's like, all right, well, I mean, it's Garces. We're just gonna go out there and do our thing. So okay, and then I also have another sidebar story for the Garces game. So everyone knows a Cunahan who played Tashby football, of course. And so he's
Hmm.
like, hey, like I'd really appreciate it if you guys just swung by like the Catholic church and like, we just like said a prayer as a team and then like we just go to the game after. So like, yeah, of course, dude. Like, the Coonahans are the nicest people ever. They're like every single one of them. So so we show up to the Catholic church, like really just expecting it to be like us, maybe like a preacher or something like that. And there is a group of nuns that live in the mountains of Tehachapi, and they're all like
Hmm.
getting, I don't know, I don't want to botch the termage or whatever, but they're like being accepted into the nun program, and so they're reciting like these Bible verses in Latin, dude.
Dang.
It sounded like an exorcism. Like, so we go in and I'm just like, dude, what is going, like they're all yelling and chanting and like all this. I'm just like, oh, like what is happening right now? And so and so we get in there and then we like see Kuhan sitting in the back of the church pews like just listening or whatever. And so we're just like, hey dude, what's going on here, man? And so get through all that and like the little preacher comes out or whatever, so we kind of just say a prayer as a team and leave. But I just always thought it was so funny, man. I just love telling that story, dude, because I've never seen such a thing, and like all the nuns, and it was just quite the experience to say the least. So
Yeah, dude, those nuns, like, they live up above Highline or something. Like, I see them driving on Highline all the time. And I'm like, oh, there
yeah.
goes the nuns. But, like, see them in person, speaking Latin and whatnot, like, pretty
Yeah, for
trippy.
real.
Yeah, it was weird, dude, but it was a trip. But also, hey, most people don't get to see that. So it was a blessing in disguise, a little cultural
There you go.
relevance right there. Um, so we go into the Garces game, just complete underdogs, like expecting nothing at that point. We're like, hey, like let's go out there and do it, like just see what we could do.
Sure.
And so, game starts, and they're returning our biggest foe from middle school, from even TYF. We played him since we were little kids. His name's Isaiah Martin. He just gave us fits, man. He was just bigger, faster, stronger than everyone for his whole life, basically.
Sure.
And so he was just running over kids since I was 7, basically.
Yeah.
And so, they're returning him. They had like a couple of receivers that they were returning, like a pretty decent amount of talent. But I think they lost a decent amount of their linemen or something like that. And so, we kind of get going, and we're getting into a dogfight with them, man. They're scoring some touchdowns, but we're piecing them up here and there. Um, I was playing a lot of blocking on first and second down, and then maybe getting the ball in some short yardage situations, kind of move the pile kind of stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
they got a couple touchdown runs in the game, but not too many yards overall. So a lot of short yardage situation kind of stuff on the goal line and around and stuff like that. And then, so yeah, we're in the fourth quarter. So I punch in another touchdown in the fourth, get us all tied up. And then so we're going to overtime with Garces boys. So, on the sideline, we're like, this is a pretty good outcome overall right now, like to be tied with these kids who put up a
Mm-hmm.
fight against a, top 25 program in California. So get into overtime, we go down there, your boy does his thing again, gets in the end zone, little short yardage touchdown, and we make the kick. So Garces gets the ball next. And so I don't know when exactly it switched, but it switched to like a college style overtime system. So each team gets the ball at the
Mm-hmm.
25. So Garces gets the ball. They score. Kicker misses the field goal. The old walk-off
Dang.
missed field goal for the win for the boys. And so, of course, everyone just goes nuts. Everyone's running on the field and just like celebrating all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that one's definitely up there for high school memories right there. So then, like I said, we got waxed like 42-7 the year prior at Garces. So then we
Yeah.
caught a little dubby. So
What's crazy too, Chach, is you've beat Garces in an overtime game twice. You did it in youth football too. I remember somebody ran it in, either you got the 2 point or you ran it in, somebody else got the 2 point. But I remember you beating Garces in overtime in youth football as well, which is kind of crazy full circle. Like it's probably like the first time you played him and the last time you ever played him, you got him in overtime, which I thought was
honestly,
pretty crazy.
yeah, it's not very typical that high school games even get to overtime, or youth football games especially.
Right.
But
TC, did
um,
you ever play in an overtime game at all, or even get like close, or like?
Um, Not that I can remember, man. I don't
Yeah,
remember even being in any overtime games.
it just dawned on me. I'm like, I've never played in an overtime like football game ever. It's just when the game was over, it was over. Like no overtime. Good for
Definitely,
you.
yeah.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
so
Chach, would you say that was your most memorable win from high school?
definitely for sure, just because Garces, man, and uh,
Hmm.
I think Coach Dimon pulled us aside in the locker room like the day of the game and told us not to let him down or something like that. And he's standing up there on the hill with all the other coaches, and so it just, it was a lot. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of, hey,
Yeah.
but pressure makes diamonds, baby. So
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, that it does.
Um, BCHS is next. So again, another really good team. They kind of ran in like an air raid thing. I believe their coach was brother of Darren Carr. He was their coach. So a lot of air raid stuff. Also some maybe
Yeah.
questionable recruiting tactics, but that's
Private schools, man.
that's here nor there. So um, yeah. So BCHS at home. We kept it competitive for a couple quarters, but the style of offense just became too much, and the lead just started growing and all that stuff, and then late in the fourth quarter, there's kind of a weird little play, like a power play or something like that, and I'm blocking for someone, and then like the pile's getting cleared, and one of the BCHS dudes pushes Matt, our center, and like just completely like lands on my foot. That's like, so it does like a dorsal flexion, I believe is the correct term. So basically like my ankle's flat on the ground, but like laying on my stomach flat on the ground. And so then Matt's whole body just falls on my ankle, and instantly I'm like, oh yeah, this ain't right either, boss. So kind of go back in this whole thing, and like instantly my mind's like, okay, great, high school football's over. Like game 3, like same story, different year, kind of thing. So get off the field. Mo's our trainer at this time, at this point in time,
Mm-hmm.
because Dr. Death kind of moved on with the old staff. So Mo's like, hey, like I don't think like it's anything super serious kind of thing. And so I'm like, yeah, whatever you say, dude. Like my ankle's fucked though. So there's no official diagnosis. So I mean, he said it was like a strained or pulled or popped tendon or something on the top of my ankle, basically. And so went right back to Mo. I'd see him. I want to say 6 times in the 4 day period before a game. So Monday through Thursday. So obviously Friday still travel with the team and all that stuff. So just super aggressive treatment. Heat, ice, running, planting, all that stuff, trying to be aggressive with it, but not really injure anything. So kind of get through that. But then, I mean, I think it's worth bringing up. The next week, the team has to travel to Paraclete, which is unfortunate to say the least. I think they're the number 2 school in California at the time. Um, really good team, just littered with D1 recruits. And they dropped at 72-6 was the final score at Paraclete. So
Yeah, it was ugly.
yeah, not a good one. I'm in the old walking boot, so that's even worse. To watch the boys go through that, and you just got to sit and watch. So I think I missed 3, maybe 3, yeah, 3 games. I think so. Paraclete, and then we actually lost to North the week after that. Just
Nice.
a complete fluke of a loss. We lost
Yeah,
to Independence and North consecutively.
yeah.
Um,
It's a rough
so
time, man.
yeah, we lost to Independence on like a technicality or something weird like that, and then yeah, lost to North, just a weird one. So, and then I'm like, okay, getting back in the swing of things, get back to practice, all that stuff, but it's just a real MF, man. Like, gotta go get my ankle taped before practice, and so it's just a whole nother layer of stuff that you got to go through and find a trainer to do it and all that stuff. So, um, but we're going to East, so we're like should be pretty fairly easy game. East isn't usually a very tough opponent. So go to East, and they stayed in their locker room for the national anthem, man. And at that point, it's just a wrap. At that point, like, so I mean, I think we took it personally, but also honestly, that's just like your band plays the national anthem for you, and it's just like a whole thing. Anyways, not to get too deep in that rabbit hole, but so yeah, we just absolutely put it on the boys, like 35-7.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just a classic. Just yeah, but I'm getting my ankle taped on under my cleat and over my cleat, so I could hardly move for warm ups or anything until she gets some rigidity in her. So
It's a
Yeah.
cast for sure.
yeah, it's a cast at the beginning for sure. But yeah, so East just getting rolled over. Sorry about that, boys. Then kind of moving into the latter stages of league. So feel like a weird one against West or something. Yeah, West on the
Mm-hmm.
road. So we go to West so basically if we win league. If we lose, then we lose and we're out of the playoffs because we're almost under that 500 mark that you got to get to make the playoffs. So
Right.
it's called kind of all riding on this one game against West. So they had like one really good athlete. His name was Dante Mason. Just a freak athlete. He's played like receiver, running back, the whole bit. So really just one of those games where you just got to lock that one dude down. So just an absolute grueler. I think I
Mm-hmm.
actually fumbled twice, if I remember correctly, which is
Dang.
not typical of me. One was definitely a bad call, but one was definitely my fault also. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I had like one rushing touchdown maybe, but boys ended up with a dub. So we win league and we're off to the playoffs. So we're like, okay, great. Like this is the best outcome we could have hoped for, you know.
Yeah.
Because again, you know,
Yeah,
we
try to salvage the season.
yeah, at least in some form. So but we had started getting a couple, lining up a couple wins, getting some momentum. So um, we play South at home. Um, this was just a clinical rushing attack out of the boys. It was super foggy and cold, and typical playoff game in Tatchby. I think we ran for like 375 yards as a team, which is pretty crazy to think about. But yeah, they didn't like the cold, and I mean, South is just mediocre overall.
Whoa.
So, kind of put it on them for a while. Okay, actually, I have one story I want to go back to. So, we're playing Golden Valley at home for homecoming, and so we're
Mm.
up like 38-0 coming out of halftime, and before the game, they like took their little sledgehammer and they put it in the ground at the 50-yard line of our
Mhm.
field on homecoming. And so our kicker, Dylan Ragsdale, goes out there. We're up by 38 at halftime and kicks an onside kick. Like, didn't tell
Off
anyone, like,
script.
off script. Just kicked it and, like, recovered it to himself. And
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
Coach DeGear was so mad. Like, just furious, dude.
I can
Like,
I can hear it. I can hear him in my ear right now. Exactly what that sounded like.
yeah, and like for anyone that knows the Ragsdales, like the nicest people ever. Like,
Absolutely.
like Dylan Ragsdale's probably the nicest kid I've ever met. But yeah, so
Hey,
he was not happy
it
about that
sounded
one,
like it needed to be done.
dude. It honestly did. Like, obviously, Coach DeGear's got to reprimand us for it, but it had to be done. So, uh okay, moving on to South. So yeah, beat down South. I mean, it's light work at that point. South is not much of a test. So and then there's an upset, like Independence beats Ridgeview or something in our playoff bracket, and so we get a second home game. And so we're playing Fresno High School, which seems
Hmm.
like some big scary team, but really it's not. It's one of the smaller schools in Fresno. So, but I mean, it's a Fresno team. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
they're one of those teams like they have a turf field. They, they're a bigger school. They have a lot of talent to pull from, all that stuff. So, um, going in, we were like, this could kind of go either way here. So kind of depending
Yeah.
on what transpires here. So just again, another just heavy rushing attack. I think I've told the story before, but I fumbled and almost choked the game away for the team. But so yeah, we're like, score's tied or we're up by a field goal or something like that. Kind of going into the fourth quarter and run like a draw play on like a 3rd and 13 or something. So obviously they're looking for a pass. And I don't know why, but they ran a lot of man coverage. And so, Chris Garcia, our quarterback, gets the ball. And I'm just looking at the back of dudes' jerseys because they're just running with our receivers. So I'm like, oh, dude, this is a wrap. So I get it. Your boy's chugging along as I do. Maybe not as spry as I once was, but still chugging along nonetheless. And I just get absolutely ran down, 360 world starred, and this dude just yeets the ball out of like just absolutely punches it out of my arms, dude. And I just see it just floating away from me. I'm just like, man, this is
Dang,
not
man.
good. So it was just like two dudes were chasing me from behind, so I like checked over my shoulder for the one, and then the other dude just of course punches right when I look, and so yeah, it was all bad. But nonetheless, defense got a stop, so we move on. We move on to a familiar foe in Tulare Western. Okay, but this is honestly Fugaze out of Tulare Western. So it's Thanksgiving week, first of all, and we have a playoff game. So, no school. We're practicing like in the mornings, just at the field. So it's already just compromised. Thursday night's Thanksgiving. So obviously no one's locked in and focused, like, or thinking about the game or whatever. So, and Tulare Western shares a field with Tulare Union. So we have to play at 11 a.m. on a Saturday for a
Hmm.
playoff game.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And mind
Yeah,
you,
we were
from
yeah, we were all home for
Richmond,
that one, which was cool. We all got to go.
Yeah, so I mean, factor in a 3 hour bus ride. I mean,
Hmm.
boys are having to get up and leave at six a.m. or something the morning after Thanksgiving. So
Yeah,
which is fine, against all odds, boys. So yeah, we go down there. It is just hotter than all get out. It's a turf field, which we only played on turf against Paraclete, which
it's
didn't go
horrible.
well. Yeah, just not, and it's like the worst turf. It's like some budget, like carpet type of turf. Like it's not the good stuff. So it's just all bad. We're out there trying to get a feel for the turf during warm ups and stuff, and it's just not going well. And they kind of just took it to us, man. They just really seemed like we weren't locked in mentally like we needed to be. So yeah, it was a rough outing, man. I think it was like a 33-14 or something like that. But so yeah, and that's how she ends, boys. I do believe I got a lit pancake block in the open field though against Tulare Western.
I
But
remember
I
that
mean,
last game, Josh. I remember it being a very, very good, like close competitive game. And then I think at the end of the game they had like a touchdown and then an interception, and then they capitalized on that. So the score really made it seem like it wasn't as close as it really was. But you guys did play, from what I'm remembering, like a decent game up until like the last like 5 minutes is when it
yeah,
really just kind of fell apart.
yeah, I think we're only down by like 14 going into halftime. So we're like, not out of reach, but not like keeping it right there also. So
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah, not ideal though. Also super weird. Like the security guards there were super weird about like people coming on the field and
it
all
was
kinds of weird
horrible.
stuff. Yeah, that place sucks, man. If don't go to Tulare Western if you could avoid it.
Yeah, it was
So
horrible. It was a
yeah,
bad day all around. I know that Chach obviously like losing that game is rough, but I mean, especially after the game too. You know, like you said, the security guards were super weird. TC ended up just hopping the fence and going down, and I remember them trying to, freaking give TC a bunch of attitude and get him off the field, but it was horrible, man. It was a bad day.
yeah, and so that's where she ended, boys. Tulare Western 3 times in a row. Who would have thought? I mean, I guess
Yeah, pretty
technically,
rough, man.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just had our number, man. I don't know how we keep matching up with them in the playoffs either, but so yeah, I think I ended with like 800 rushing yards or something my senior year with like maybe 10 or 12 touchdowns, something like that. So
yeah.
I'm pretty
Which for
decent for
someone at your position, I mean, that's absurd.
yeah. So, but I mean, yeah, that's all she wrote. Kind of after after the season kind of wrapped up, there was like one school who had come to like talk to a group of players. It was called Dort, DORDT. Kind of a funny name for a college, but it was in like Iowa City, Iowa, or something like that, somewhere
Sheesh.
weird like that. So, but it was kind of close to tie, and so like we had the meeting with the coach, and I was like, I just don't really want to go to college, kind of thing. And then like I kind of started thinking about it more. I was like, oh, I could be right by Ty, and go to school. But then like, the more time passed, the farther it got away from football season. I was just like, man, I just don't know if this is the right move. We always talk about. I kind of saw what transpired with you guys in college and moving across the country and all that stuff, and so I was like, man, I think it's just time to hang it up. So we did hung her up right there where she lives still. So.
Yeah, Chacha, I wanted to ask you, you know, Schmog and I played on very dominant teams for like a long time. We maybe
Mhm.
had down years here and there. Do you feel like there's any difference between like the culture surrounding your guys' kind of teams compared to what you saw me and Schmog playing in, or you think you didn't have as much talent, or like you said you guys had gone 500 a couple of years? What do you think was going on there?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a little bit of everything. I think it's the culture, like kids just weren't as involved. Like I said, it was a little harder to like we basically had to make like it was like a struggle to like make kids go and like sell pancake breakfast tickets at farmers market, which like it might seem like not a big deal, but like if they're not willing to go and volunteer 2 of their hours to like go and like support the program, like you think they're gonna like when the times are tough in the game, they're gonna be there for you. So I mean, I think it was definitely a cultural thing, and then like I mean, just the also number of players. Like we probably had like maybe 40 or 50 kids total my senior year, which is pretty light. So yeah, I think a little bit of everything, man. I mean, also you guys just had severely talented teams. Like, so I don't know if that just comes with the culture and like building everyone up. Rising tide rises all ships kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably a nice little blend of all of them. But yeah, it's kind of how I would sum up my football career in general. Like we were always like good, solid, but like never great kind of thing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like I definitely remember you personally doing your thing quite a bit, but as far as team goes, like you guys were never in that like title kind of Final Four kind of mix. It seemed like you're still trying to get there.
for sure. Like yeah, like we had good players. Don't get me wrong. Like we had players that had good stats and everything. Like so. I think we were just like missing some like players to bridge the gap kind of thing, like just
Yeah,
solid dudes who like were there and they would make the play every time kind of thing. Like
Sure.
we had kids that could do a bunch of crazy stuff. Like Dylan Ragsdale is probably one of the better outside linebackers I've ever witnessed play on any of my teams. So and Noah snapping the ball and playing tackle and defensive line. So which is crazy, but yeah, just uh, overall, they're just like it always just seemed like we were just a piece or two away from like taking that next step and like yeah, contending for titles or championships. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
no,
mean it's not an easy thing to do, like to get to those semifinal, NCIF games. It's tough and it's a long season too. And I mean, especially Chach, I mean, you're sitting out a couple games a season, you know what I mean? I mean, you're an obvious difference maker, and especially, in your guys' case, starting those seasons off in such like a rough manner where you're dropping the first like three or four, winning one out of the first four. But I mean,
exactly,
like,
yeah,
props to you guys. I mean, like, for being like so resilient. I mean, still making the playoffs every single season. Like, I mean, it's you making playoffs, man. It's not easy to do. We take it for granted, in Tehachapi High School, just because we make the playoffs every year. But I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. So, like, no discredit to you guys at all, man. I mean, you guys still had great seasons, and I mean, going to the semifinals like 2 or 3 years in a row, like that's nuts. Any other school, I'm sure Arvin would be stoked if that was them. You know what I mean?
exactly. If the bar wasn't so damn high, Jesus.
Yeah,
yeah, for
yeah.
real.
Sorry about that.
So yeah, I mean it is what it is. You got people winning back to back and three peats and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
So but we all can't be great. Some of us got to be good. So
yeah.
yeah, no. So that's kind of where my sports career kind of wrapped up. And, kind of as my senior year went on, I just kind of really like started thinking about like what I actually wanted to do with my life,
Mm-hmm.
because like Tehachapi is infamously bad for people just spinning their tires and doing nothing and, becoming nothing. And like
Mm.
just, going to high school parties, like, we always make jokes about certain individuals that might hang around high schoolers for a bit too long. But
Sheesh.
um, so I just always like was like, what am I like? What's the plan? Like I'm not going to go to Dort or whatever and explore that option. So like, what am I going to do? Like, what am I going to do next, kind of thing. So, um, yeah, finished off senior year, battle the sexes, Mr. Warrior, all that stuff. So, and then I mean, I forget. Oh, okay. So, I mean, I guess kind of the second semester of my senior year, obviously all of us have worked at out in Alpine with Dad for a long time. He ran that system for a really long time. So we were always out there doing like odd jobs and stuff like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but the second semester of my senior year, I was like kind of just going out there like on Fridays and weekends and stuff like that. So just earning a bit of cash, which I think I made like $250 a week, which for a high schooler is
Crazy.
like that's a
Big
shit
balling.
ton of money for
Yeah.
high schoolers, dude.
Sheesh.
Like Del Taco on me today, boys.
Yeah.
So
You can buy you and all your boys a monster, dude.
exactly, dude. So, start getting some money and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, this ain't half bad, getting a paycheck. So, um, and then my wife's dad actually he worked at DWP for like 35 or 37 years or something crazy
Hmm.
like that. And so, um,
What's DWP for the people at home?
oh, Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. So it's like, I'm pretty sure it's the largest utility company in the United States. But so basically, they run water and power from like all the way up in Bishop, like all the way down to LA. They handle all
Hmm.
of that stuff. And so basically all the yards, they like have this internship program where you go and you work the summer after your senior year that you graduate, and they like pay you decent. You basically cut weeds and do like little odd jobs and stuff like that. But so it's kind of an easy way for you to get the foot in the door. So I was like, hey, that'd be pretty easy money. Give me a summer, kind of figure out what I want to do long term. And
Hmm.
so started doing that. It was honestly a lot of fun, man. A lot of good memories came from those days at DWP, man. I mean, it's harder than sin in the Mojave Desert in the middle of the summer, but
Sure.
just driving around on the little Kubotas and all that stuff, and getting monsters and donuts literally every morning, like to
Yes,
a point
sir.
where it's like unhealthy for you, So, um, big ups to there, man. So DWP is kind of winding down, and I'm like, hey, like this water stuff isn't so bad, kind of thing. And I was still doing stuff at Alpine from time to time, like green meters or whatever it was. So, um, Dad was kind of looking to kind of phase himself out of Alpine a little bit, and so I was like, hey, that'd be an easy way to get in. So, decided that I was going to take my water test and just kind of go full send into the water industry. So, and that's what I did, and it's a good profession to say the least. So, um, worked at Alpine for a couple of years, and then a longtime friend of our dad's. His name's Dan DeMoss, great guy, by the way. He approached me about working for a little sister company of California Rural Water. It's a little contract operator company, and so basically these little water systems that basically can't support themselves, they basically hire us to take over their system. We operate and maintenance and all that stuff. So and yeah, I've been doing that ever since then. Wife and I bought a house in 2019, so or 2020, I guess. But so yeah, bought a house, and then not too long after that, had our first boy, Stetson. Shout out Stets on the pod.
Hmm.
Um, and then just recently, this last December, we had our second boy, Ranger. Got dogs, got the kids, all that stuff. So I'm just a full time family man, baby.
Wow. So you're
Yeah,
telling me
man.
you never had to go through the crippling college years?
Exactly. I know it's pretty short when you got to skip over those times, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Chach. You know, I wanted you to dive a little bit deeper into the water world and what you experienced. You went through the whole apprenticeship program, your time at Alpine. Like, what's it like getting certified, all that kind of stuff? Like, straight up going to school to be a water
Yeah,
boy.
Yeah. So
water boy.
um, I actually applied for a scholarship through California Rural Water when I was a senior in high school. So basically, they just pay for you to take the class so you could take your water test once you graduate. And so I was like, okay, perfect. I applied. I like made this whole formal like cover letter and like this. I wrote this essay and all this stuff. And so I got that. And I was like, oh, this is sweet. Like, we're just gonna go do this. And then Dan reached out to me, or reached out through Dad to me, so kind of
Hmm.
secondhand kind of thing. But
Yeah.
he was like, hey, I know we gave you the scholarship, but I really think we should give it to someone else because we got this other thing coming, and I think it's going to work out a little better. So like, okay, perfect. Like really the money wasn't the thing. It was just kind of trying to move to the next step of being a water guy. And so, so I start working for Alpine. He's like, okay, great. You just go work at Alpine, and then you'll join the apprenticeship program. And so basically what that is, it's just like an apprenticeship for anything, being a lineman, a welder, anything. So you're earning on the job training hours while you're doing the job. And so, this is all pre COVID. So we were going up to Sacramento once a month for like the formal, like hands on training, like in a classroom setting, CRWA, if anyone's in the water industry listening, they have the best instructors and all that stuff for teaching water classes. So if you or anyone needs any anything like that, reach out to CRWA. They handle all of California, so it's a subtle plug for sure. But yeah, so did the apprenticeship, completed it. It was like a whole 2 year thing, man. Learned a ton, met a bunch of cool people that like just from all over the place, like just teachers and other students and like people who've been in the army and now they're water dudes and like just all kinds of different people who have just done out so many different things, man. And like people are like volunteer firefighters that also work for like the water department in small little towns and stuff like that. So, and like honestly, being a water guy is so, it's just interesting, man, because like, people, they flush their toilet or they turn on their faucet and like that's it. They have no attachment to it. Like they don't understand what a privilege is that like you flush the toilet and like your piss goes away. Like, you don't just have to piss in the alley anymore like they used to. Like it's just so underappreciated. And honestly, it's a dying trade from what everyone says, like it's these little programs like the apprenticeship program and stuff like that that's keeping it alive. Most of the people who are in this industry are getting older, man, starting to retire. And so, I mean, it's really good work. And also, you only need a high school diploma to do it. So, kind of went through the apprenticeship. Um, and then there's like basically these formal tests you have to take, and they're your certifications. So that's how you get certified through the state of California to be a water operator. So, um, they're like 50 or $60 or something, and you only need a high school diploma or GED to take the one. So, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. It is like if you are completely lost in your career search and you're okay with manual labor and all that stuff, like it is one of the easier ways to make a decent living, the fastest, I'd say. I don't know what TC's opinion on that, but
Yeah, definitely. You could make good money straight out of the gate, especially if you're single or just starting a family or anything like that. Like, it's a good way to get your foot in the door and see what happens after that.
exactly. And like there's five like levels basically. So there's like a distribution side. So that's like your fresh water, like the water that comes into your house basically. And then there's like a wastewater side. And so there's three technically. So there's a treatment side, which is also the water that goes into your house, but it makes it drinkable, to standards of California and all that stuff. I won't bore you too much with any of the specifics or nothing like that. But don't think you guys want to know about magnesium and chlorine and all that shit. So, um, yeah, so I mean, yeah, like I said, you can move vertically very fast. And once you find the right company, yeah, I mean, it makes a huge difference. Um, I went from working at Alpine by myself 24/7, like just a one man crew, like any problem that arose, like it was just on me. And now, like, I work for one of the bigger contract utilities in California. So, um, yeah, I mean, it's a love hate relationship sometimes, like because you kind of got to do this unique blend of it's manual labor, it's almost like a retail job because you're dealing with customers from time to time, whether it's my I have a broken pipe, readings, whatever it is. So it's this interesting little blend, man. But you meet a ton of cool people along the way, like just people from all walks of life, like just have like, and you have nothing in common, but then you're like all water dudes, and so you gain that in common, and so met a bunch of people, man, and gained a bunch of friends from doing this line of work. So yeah, I enjoy it thoroughly, and I'll probably be a water guy for quite a while.
Yeah, Chach, I think one of the funnier parts about the job is that like every customer that you run into claims that they used to do water distribution for a period of time. Like, oh, I did that for 10 years. Why aren't you guys doing it this way? Like every customer you
Exactly.
run into knows a better way that you should be doing it, no matter, how many times you've done it the same way. Like they know better.
For sure,
Everyone's a
dude.
professional.
Yeah, everyone's a professional, dude. Like they think because
They
they
used to work for Granite, or they used to work for this city, or they did this for a while, and you're like, all right, guy, well, I'm still gonna do it this way, but that's awesome.
yeah, and like they think because they like slap together a sprinkler system in their backyard that they like understand how pipes and valves work, So yeah, no, dude, but just I mean these two places that I work now, they're just a whole different beast, man. Like just the leaks and the stories that come out of these places, because I mean, it kind of comes with the territory, Like we're a contract operator company, so I mean, not to be blunt, like these places aren't exactly the most high tech and fully operational places on the planet because those places run themselves. So they're a little more tried and true, we'll say, is the word I'd use. So just you meet so many weird people, man, who are just, yeah, like TC said, everyone comes out and breathing down your neck while you're working on a water leak or whatever it is. They always got a story about, how they did this, or, they built houses or whatever the case is. So, but definitely keeps you on your toes, man. So, but yeah, water dude by day, baby.
Yeah, definitely. Chach, all right. I got a couple points that I wanted to hit here. Number one, I wanted you to close your eyes, okay? I wanted you to think back to a time. The year is 2012,
Okay.
okay? Football season is just about wrapping up. You're getting the team video together, okay?
Oh gosh.
And there's going to be a theme song for this video.
Oh
What was
man.
it?
This is Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen. This is what this is.
Tell me what was going on. Tell me some of the creative process that went into those decisions.
Oh
Okay, well,
man.
so to be fair, this was the year that Schmog won CIF, and Crizzy Garrett was the mom of Logan's quarterback, and his younger brother was on my team. And so, of course, Crizzy makes this dope, with the Nickelback music and all the metal songs for Schmog's team. And they're like, "Oh, I think it'd be really funny if we like did this Call Me Maybe thing." And like, to be fair, it was just a
Because that
bit,
song was
like,
giant at the time. You gotta
like
keep
It
in
yeah,
was a
mind.
hot song, man. It was a hot
It was
song.
the song.
like the video of the baseball players on the little van, like that was blowing up at the time, and
All over
so
the Instagram.
like it was just like a bit of the end of the year video. The rest of the video was lit,
It was like a
so
skit in the video.
yeah, it was like a skit. It was like some full on Jackass type shit. um
Hmm.
so like
I don't know if I'd go that
basically
far.
Yeah.
they just drag all of us out to the field one day, like just on a random day, like after the season or maybe as the season's winding down, and they just have all these like preset ideas in their head of how it's gonna go. But like,
Hmm.
there's no music. It's not like a real production, like where you could like hear the music, to kind of understand what's going on. So
Right.
like, it is just this video that's just like pieced together of just like just everything you can imagine. There's a close up still shot that is burned into my memory forever of me.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be on the podcast post on Instagram, but
Just yeah, we got to track that photo down.
I'm pretty sure that video is still on YouTube too, Chach. You have to verify.
I'm sure it is.
Ooh, I'm gonna find it.
Yeah. So, not yeah. Okay, but honestly, like at the end of the year party or whatever, your little banquet thing, it was so funny. Like I was literally crying laughing because it was just so funny, dude. And like Coach Bob is our coach, and he's just dying laughing too, dude. It
Uh-huh.
was so much fun. Like in hindsight, like when people watch it nowadays, it makes me want to rip my eyeballs out with a rusty spoon. But like in hindsight, it is really funny. Like it did
Yeah,
hit
it
on the
definitely
comedy
is a
side.
classic.
So
Uh-huh.
Definitely a classic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me see if
that
that's still.
yeah, that close up still photo, man, it kills me every single time I see it.
Okay. The other story I wanted you to tell was bathroom Bakugan.
oh gosh.
Tell
Okay.
the whole story.
So anyone who knows what Bakugan is, it's I guess technically it's an anime show, but so like it's a little game they play. It's just like Yu-Gi-Oh or Beyblade or anything like that. And so basically like it's kind of like Pokemon. Like they have these little figurines that they like yeet
Mhm.
out onto the cards, and then they like turn into the little things and they fight or whatever. So of course, me being me, asked for them for Christmas. Mom hooked it up. She got me the whole set, had the little tiles with the little Bakugans and all this stuff. And so, but she also got me the prized Drago was his name. He's like the
Dang.
Charizard of Bakugan,
But I
right?
thought you had to beg for that one.
Yeah, no, I probably started playing Bakugan like in the middle of the year, and then I literally begged for it till Christmas happened or something like that, and then
Hmm.
I finally get it. So I'm like, oh, dude, it's wraps. Like everyone is done for, and so basically at school, like there would be these matches in the bathroom of Bakugan, right? So you have duels, And so, but you were playing for pinks, okay?
Oh
So,
yeah.
you know, go in there with my Drago. I'm like, okay, this is unlosable. Like, I just got the Charizard. No way I'm losing this. And he like pulled out like some Fugazi, like reverse card cheese or something like that. And so
Dang.
And so basically, I got finessed out of my Drago that I begged all year for, and then I'm pretty sure I cried. I like went to the next bathroom and cried my eyes out because I lost him. I was in like fourth or fifth grade or something at the time,
Oh, buddy.
and also
It's
like
absolutely crippling.
yeah, like I begged mom and dad for it all year, and then I just lose it like the first time I ever take it to school. So
Dang.
absolute heartbreak, man. Kid probably still has it too.
There's a chance of that.
I mean,
Yeah, we used to do the same thing with Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day, and I was always so scared of getting my cards taken for sure. I'm sorry you had to
dude. Okay,
live that reality.
random story that just popped in my head. I was scrolling TikTok the other day, and like I'm just scrolling, and guess what pops up? Two grown ass men having a full on Yu-Gi-Oh duel on TikTok.
I think we need to bring it back, man.
Dude, they had the things and everything, dude.
Dang.
Dude, it
I
was
think
so
it's still a
sick.
thing, just not in as much spotlight as it used to be. You
Yeah.
know,
I'm gonna get some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm gonna order some tomorrow, just so you
Hey
guys know.
yo,
Up next week on the pod. You're welcome.
yeah. Next week we'll just have a Yu-Gi-Oh duel on the pod.
Hey, you guys want to? Dude, you're so lucky. I got rid of my old cards. You'd be done.
Josh, you used to have one of those things that like attached to the
I
arm and you played
did.
all your cards on.
Oh yeah, I think
The
it's
thing
sick,
was
dude.
sick.
I think
And
it's
You
so
could
honestly
beat the
though,
awesome.
shit out of each other
like
with it.
it is cool, but it's not that practical for an actual duel, you know? Because like if you both don't have them, there's no point.
You just they'll be playing on the table like normal, and you're just standing above them.
Because I remember, like, it used to like fold in half, and then you'd like pull the button, and then it would like slam shut, and then like slide on your arm, like full on like
Yeah,
animated. So yeah, someone's like sitting at the coffee table, and you're just like,
Yeah, sick for real.
yeah, nothing like battling some freaking Bakugan in the bathroom, dude. And then I hung him up forever. I never played Bakugan again after that.
that was it.
I literally
Goodness.
put him in like those little blue bins that we had, and never touched them again till we like threw them away when I was like 16.
Wow.
Yeah,
All right, we're gonna
Cha-Cha.
we're gonna settle this once and for all. Here, keep it down podcast exclusive. Who gave you the nickname Chach? One side says that it was our dad. One side said that it was Ty. Who was the first person to call you Chach?
I remember it being Ty at middle school basketball.
Definitely. It was me.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, like I started doing it, then Jay started doing it, and then Jay wanted to claim it for his own because it was a perfect fit. You know? It's not like
Yeah,
I'm out here claiming to give Schmog his nickname. I know I didn't do that. But I did give Chach his.
hey.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give the credit to TC on that one. So
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Now that that's settled for the people.
Chach, what about Horsey in the cruise?
oh gosh. We're just cutting real deep today, aren't we? Just all about me just losing all my stuff. Okay.
Yeah, these are awesome stories, dude. This defines your childhood.
Yeah.
So, at the Apple Shed, they like had this little like gift store section where like they had all these little trinkets and whatnots, and I was always eyeballing these. They're called Webkins. It's like Club Penguin based. It's actually okay. It's actually the world's first NFT if you think about it.
It really kind of is.
So
Dang.
you
You
buy this
really
little
get deep
stuff.
like that.
Yeah, you buy this little stuffed animal and it has like a little code on it. And so you go home and you go on your computer and you like type in the code and then you can like it's like a little interactive little game. So your little animal can like do stuff and all kinds of stuff. So
Dang.
I put the hashtag time in, grinded for weeks on end to gather enough coins or whatever so I could send my horse named Horsey to the spa while I was on vacation going on a cruise. So I save up my coins. It's like the night before the cruise. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I gotta send Horsey to the spa. So I do
Off
it,
to
send
the
him to the
spot you
spa.
go.
See you later.
Dad'll see you when he gets back.
Dude, thinking about it, literally, probably when I hit the X button on the tab, Horsey popped right back out of the spa. Like, just right back on the street or whatever.
Horsey never went to the spa.
So, okay, we go on our 7-day Baja cruise, just live the time of our life. Come back, I'm like, oh, gotta check on the boy Horsey, see how he's living, you know. Obviously, went to the spa for this whole time. And I get on, it's like, uh-oh, an unexpected error has occurred. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I must have forgot my password. So I go to the little Rolodex that's right by the computer. It says username Horsey, password Horsey.
Username is Horsey and so is the password. Dude, it must have been brutal because I remember me and Schmog finding that Rolodex card that said the username was Horsey and the password was Horsey, dude. We gave it to you for months after that. And just everything you said, we would look at you sideways and say, Horsey?
Yeah, it's definitely catching some heat for that one. Yeah, no. So get home. It's like, oh, unexpected error has occurred, and it's like, oh, we've sent because like you had to enter your parents' email because it's like a little kids game, and so like, oh, we've sent an email to your inbox, like checking it to see what it says, and so mom gets the email, and Horsey freaking died because I left him there on the street and didn't send him to the spa, like the good responsible dad I was trying to be.
Ooh.
Mom probably lied to me about it too. Was the worst part.
Yeah, R.I.P. Horsey, dude. That's a rough one.
Yeah, Horsey is the goat.
Boy. Pretty rough, man.
I just can't believe I saved up that many coins for nothing.
Jeez. Well, Chach, anything else you wanna tack on here?
I mean, not that I can think of off the top of my head, man.
TC, you got anything? Any other burning questions the people need answers from Chach?
Man, I think that was about it out of me for Chach.
Yeah, Chachi, thank you so much for hitting the hot seat. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Hopefully you're not sweating about stuff that may or may not have been brought up or not. We appreciate you bringing on, dude, and everyone who listened. Hopefully that gives you a little more insight into the life of Chach, man.
Yeah, it was a blast, man. It's a little different being on this side of things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
it was good, though. Interesting, for sure.
All right, boys. Well, without further ado, shall we go into our next little segment here?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Alrighty. So last weekend we went over our NFL Pick'ems for the crazy wild card weekend, which ended up being absolutely insane. So many great games last weekend. Some crazy come from behind wins. Some upsets, if you want to call it that. I'm going to call it that. Yeah, we had some big upsets last weekend. So moving on into the divisional round this weekend, guys. We're heating up. There's only a few teams left, and we're getting into some big time football games here. So I guess we'll yeah. So this is our NFL Pick'ems presented by DUBBY. Everyone, if you haven't already, make sure you head over to dubby.gg and see what they got. They just launched a brand new blue raspberry flavor. If you're into that, make sure you use code Keep It Down for 10% off your purchase, and that's all caps. Keep it down. Yeah. So Saturday, first game we have are the Jaguars at the Chiefs. Jacksonville at Kansas City. 1:30 start time. What are we thinking?
Before we talk about this next game, can we talk about what happened to the Chargers real quick?
Yeah.
So the Chargers are up by 24 at halftime. I mean, you'd like to close those ones out, I sure hope.
27.
My fault.
Yeah.
27 at halftime. Anyways. But dude, the Jaguars, I said it on the last pod and I'll say it again. They're a fun little team to watch, man.
Yeah,
They got
I
the
think so too.
ETN and Trevor Lawrence thing, the defense, man. They're a little dark horse. But I mean, going into Arrowhead, that is not an easy task, and I think it's going to be too much. But I think the Jaguars have probably one of the top 5 brightest futures ahead of them in the NFL. So
Definitely. I think they're kind of in that same boat. Jacksonville, Detroit. They're all like kind of those fun teams to watch, but maybe you're not taking them quite as seriously as you would some of the other teams. But they're getting there, right?
Mm,
I'd also put Seattle in that same category. Um, but yeah, man, like crazy comeback. But I don't know if it was more of a comeback or a collapse on the Chargers part, right? There's a
great point.
saying, and it's the Chargers are gonna charger, man. And it's
Ooh.
like so tried and true. Like, dude, like you are in a perfect position to win the game. You know, this is as good as it could have gone in the first half. Like, you're gonna blow a 27-point lead and get booted out of the play. Like crazy,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy, monumental collapse. And I think all the Chargers fans know exactly how we felt in the 2016 Alamo Bowl. Now,
Exactly.
Ooh. Mm.
Schmack, what you got?
So, I mean, everyone's probably seen the stat by now, but Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence has never lost a football game on a Saturday, high school, college, now NFL. Um, I mean, that's just a stat that's come out recently. I think the Chiefs are gonna win this game. Personally, I think it's gonna be close though. I think it's gonna be very close. I think it's gonna be a lot closer than what a lot of people think it's gonna be. I always say that the most dangerous team is the one that's got nothing to lose, and the Jaguars. I mean, they've already exceeded expectations by getting to this point. I think they're gonna. I mean, they're gonna go out and they're gonna swing for the fences, which they should. I think it's gonna be a really really good game actually though.
Yeah, for sure.
I gotta disagree with you, Schmug. I think Chiefs are probably gonna stomp them out pretty good.
Mm,
Um, you're going into KC. It's one of the louder stadiums, the harder stadiums to play in. Patrick Mahomes is on a completely different level than everyone else right now. Chiefs are absolutely rolling, and I don't know, man. Like I said, I feel like it was more of a Chargers collapse rather than the
sure.
Jaguars just playing world beater football.
Yeah.
I got to roll with the Chiefs, man, and I don't think it's going to be quite as close as you're thinking, Schmag.
Mm. Judge. Final prediction.
I'm gonna take the Chiefs. Probably like 2 touchdowns, maybe 17, kind of 34-17 kind of thing.
All right. Next game, we got the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's the second game on Saturday.
Yeah,
I
man, this is.
despise the. Sorry, TC, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I would say I despise the Eagles for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Whoa.
I don't know if it's the fans or what, but I'm a Giants guy, man. You love to see it. They, the Vikings frauds, the Eagles maybe frauds. We'll see. Time will tell. But
Maybe for odds.
yeah, the Giants, man, they're just them. Like again, just like a fun football team to watch. Like Saquon is back to the Saquon of old. Danny Dimes is playing like Josh Allen 2.0 right now. Like, I mean, the talent, the defense, Kayvon Thibodeau, of course. Love to see him succeed and do what he does best. And so, I'm gonna take the Giants. This is gonna be the upset of the week.
Whoa.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah, very bold prediction. This is actually, I think, one of the more interesting games
Yep.
coming into the week, guys. At about the halfway point of the season, Eagles were undefeated, absolutely rolling. They played my Steelers, and AJ Brown just turned into Randy Moss.
Mm,
Just went off and couldn't be guarded. Obviously, Jalen Hurts' mobility plus his IQ and arm talent make him a very hard player to deal with. But at the end of the season, he's been banged up. He sat out a couple of games. And now it's like you're not as sure about what the Eagles are with him kind of limping towards the end of the season. He's had a couple of weeks to heal up. I don't know, man. I want to go with the Giants. I really do. Just that nitty gritty style of football. But
mhm.
I gotta go with the Eagles here, guys. Just I saw what they did around that halfway point of the season. If they play even 3 quarters of what they were playing at that time, I think they're gonna get the win.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants played a great game last weekend. I mean, the Vikings. I mean, I mean, all the memes going around about the phone call screen with the potential fraud, like little answering screen on it. Man, the Vikings just were not it. But I mean, also the Giants came out and played a great game, and um, Saquon had a ridiculous day, and I mean, the Giants receiving core just really stepped up when they needed to. Um, so yeah, I mean, Josh, I think I'm going to go with you on this. I think I'm going to go with the Giants. I think the Eagles, while Hurts has had some time to come back and get healthy, I don't know if this bye week helped them as much as I think it's going to hurt them. I mean, I think it could be kind of a trap for him. I think the Eagles very much play on like momentum, obviously. And I think just having that bye week, I think they come out a little flat against the Giants, who are one of the hotter teams right now in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm gonna go with New
Definitely.
York on this. I'm gonna give them the bone on this one. All right, moving into Sunday, early game, 12 o'clock. Uh, Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills.
Oof.
Mind, mind you, the last time these two teams met was that a Monday night game, correct? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Monday night game.
The Monday night game that had to be that was canceled after the Damar Hamlin situation. Um, so yeah, so these two teams meet again, this time at Buffalo. What's everyone's thoughts? I think this is an interesting game here.
Yeah, I mean, this is the game of the week, probably. I feel kind of stupid saying that the last game was like one of the better games of the week. We're in the divisional round, man. All of these games are absolute bangers. Like,
Mhm.
um, this is probably the best weekend for NFL football that there is.
Yeah,
All of these games are going to be really great games, but this is the game of the week.
yeah,
Obviously, the Bills have been a powerhouse for the last 2 or 3 years. Josh Allen playing on a completely different level. Bengals are obviously AFC champions, defending AFC champions.
yeah,
So, man, this is really heating up, and these are some of the tougher picks that we've had.
yeah.
I don't know, man. I can really go either way on this. I think the Bills overall may be the better team,
Mhm.
but I'm kind of seeing a rerun from last year's playoffs where all year it was Bills and Chiefs, and then out of nowhere, here comes the Bengals. And
Yeah,
like I said on the last pod, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins just can't be stopped, and Joe Burrow just goes to a completely different place in the playoffs. I
yeah.
don't think they're ever out of it. Um, I'm gonna go with the Bengals here, guys. I got to go with the Bengals. I don't know what's telling me to do that, but it's really a toss up here, guys. I think it's really 50-50.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's coming from the fact that the Dolphins trotted a third stringer out there, and Buffalo had to close it out in the fourth on them. I think you definitely expect the Bills to handle business a little more against that Dolphins team without their starting quarterback. So I think that's definitely a little worrisome playing a hot team like the Bengals, man. I mean, the Bills are at home in Buffalo, so that's a whole nother element, with the weather depending. It is an earlier game, so that's probably better for the Bengals. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really close one. I think it's going to come down to either coaching or a field goal or one of those kind of things. So, but I'm going to take the Bengals.
Yeah, I think this game is going to be an all-out slugfest. I think this is going to be an extremely close game, no matter who wins this game. I think both of these teams didn't really have the games that they wanted to last week. I mean, the Bengals were also playing against a backup quarterback last week, and that game went down to the wire. The Bills gave up a huge lead and almost lost to a third-string quarterback. Hopefully, both of those teams come out and play to their true potential. But I think I got the Bills at home. I think it's going to be close. I think just playing this game in Buffalo is going to be the difference maker there. All right, last game here. We have the Dallas Cowboys at the San Francisco 49ers. Thoughts and opinions here.
Yeah, man. Another great game on the slate.
Mhm.
Yeah, tough one. Obviously, Dallas came out and handled business for the most part,
Absolutely.
besides their kicker. They were all on point when
Yeah.
they went into Tampa Bay, took care of business.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of thought Tampa Bay was kind of ready to go. You kind of get that expression
Yeah,
in boxing or UFC when someone's getting beat up pretty bad. Like you see
absolutely.
it in their eyes that they're ready to go, and I think that's kind of what happened to the Buccaneers. Like just tired. They've been on a long run. They're getting a lot of their players are getting older. Like I think
Yeah.
they were just ready to go. And Dallas definitely did that for them. They took care of business. But man, 49ers with that defense is playing on a whole different level. It seems like ever since Christian McCaffrey touched down in San Francisco, they have just been rejuvenated and are now on a mission no matter who's playing quarterback. I got to go with the defense and the consistency with the 49ers, man.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a defensive slugfest, man. I think it's going to be like a classic, like 20 to 17 final or something like that, Not super high scoring because I think it's safe to say that both teams would lean on their defense more than their offense. I don't know. The 49ers have a very explosive offense, but I think they'd still probably take that defense with, gosh, their linebacker core, man. Oh my. It's just disgusting filth. And they got Nick Bosa rushing off the edge and, the safeties and Troy Polamalu Jr. back there. And, um, yeah, I think I'm going to take the Niners, but it's going to be a close affair for sure. Um, yeah, I just think the Cowboys run out of steam, man.
Yeah, I think the 49ers are interesting because I think out of all the teams that played last weekend, they're the only team that doesn't have an asterisk next to their win. Because I mean, you look at the Jaguars, it's like yeah, they won, but like the Chargers pretty much just crumbled and like couldn't get back into that game, right? So like TC was saying, like, was it a Jaguars win or was it a Chargers loss? Like you kind of have to look at that. You have, the Giants, yes, they beat the Vikings, but people have been accusing the Vikings of being frauds all season. Like New York was just the team to do it. Bengals and Bills, like they both had terrible games, in retrospect last season. The Cowboys, like they won, but like, they played a team with a losing record. Like, Tom Brady didn't look like his normal self. But the 49ers, man, I mean, they just came out and they just beat the brakes off Seattle. Like, no doubt, like they won that game on their own. Like, it didn't take anything besides them winning the game. I think Dallas, though, coming off of that performance that they had and like that defensive pressure, I think that's going to be the biggest thing to look out for is how much pressure Dallas can put on Mr. Brock Purdy. I think that it's going to be his toughest test yet. I mean, Dallas's defensive front and that defense, they just bring it. And they showed that against Tampa. I mean, Brady was, either on the ground or hurried pretty much that entire game, which is how you beat Brady, which is brilliant by them. I am going to go with the 49ers, but I think this is going to be another great game. Sunday is going to be incredible as far as football goes. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I got San Francisco in a close one. So
Yeah. I think that game is so interesting because I think if Dallas plays to 100% of their potential and the 49ers play to 100% of their potential, I
yeah,
think Dallas wins. Um,
yeah,
I mean, you have Zeke and Tony Pollard in the backfield, kind of that yin and yang.
mhm,
Obviously, Tony Pollard played wide receiver in high school, so anything on the outside, he's probably going to
right,
beat you. And then if it's 3rd and 1, good luck trying to stop Zeke. And then CD Lamb
mhm,
and all the tight ends that they keep rolling out there. And then on the defense side of the ball, Diggs is playing just about as good as any corner.
yeah,
But something like it doesn't all click all at once for Dallas. Like either the
exactly.
offense is playing good or the defense is playing good. It just seems like hardly ever do they all put it together, especially in the playoffs. So just for the consistency that the 49ers were playing with this year, you got to roll with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, dude, the 49ers are just like, they just wait for that opportunity to come and they just pounce on you. Like, Seattle was hanging in there till right before halftime. The 49ers caused Gino to fumble, take it out and score, double them up before halftime. And then, the next thing you know, the game's out of reach. CMC gets a healthy dose of, getting the football in the second half. And I mean, it's going to be hard to recover from that. So, I mean, if
Yeah,
Dallas can keep the ball off the ground and in the hands of the 49ers defense, then, I mean, they've got a hell of a shot, but that's a tough thing to do. So,
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend, fellas. I think we got a lot of good football. I hope it is. I hope every single game is a close slugfest. I hope every single team plays to their fullest ability, and we get some good games this weekend.
Yeah, I've got one story. I don't know how we didn't talk about it. It's about the greatest one-hit wonder in the history of the NFL. Does anyone have any guesses who it is?
Talking about Peyton Hillis.
Yes. So, yeah, I guess he was like out swimming with his kids or something, at a beach. Not sure exactly where he lives, but and his both of his children actually got swept out to sea by like a riptide, and so he went swam after him and eventually got to him, and then he basically passed out in the process of rescuing his kids. So they all basically floated ashore, and like some lady found him there. And so as of like 4 or 5 days ago, he just got taken off of a ventilator. So um, thoughts and prayers out to the Hillis family and all that stuff. That's never good, especially rescuing your kids from drowning like that, and then all that stuff. So it's never good. And I don't know how we didn't talk about it, honestly, but yeah. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, heroic act by Peyton Hillis, man. Like,
Yeah,
um, just to people always say that they would put their kids' lives above their own, but he really went out there and proved it, man.
yeah,
So
actually,
that says everything, you know.
yeah.
I thought I had one other thing, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. Is there anything else you boys want to touch on?
Yeah, I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Colorado football in general.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
University of Colorado football, the state of University of Colorado football right now.
oh,
Um, is this a lot of bark for us to hang 50 on their heads? Or are they going to be good next year? Like, you guys tell me.
So I mean, they're gonna have a better season than last year. They only got to win
Well, you
two
can only
games to
go
do
up.
that.
Yeah.
Like, I think they will be better. I don't dislike, and we were kind of talking about this in the group chat the other day. I don't dislike Colorado. I don't dislike Coach Prime. I think, he's, doing a great job, and he's, changing the lives of, young men, and he's doing what a coach should be doing. He's doing a great job so far. Um, I think the part that gets to me is you look and you see a lot of people on social media and stuff, and they're talking about Colorado being a college football playoff contender next year. And I'm sorry, there's 0% chance of that. They just have a lot of work to do. I mean, they're bringing in a lot of good people, and they're kind of changing the culture, which is good. But I said it once, I'll say it again. If they win more than 7 games next season, I will be blown away, shocked.
Yeah, I think 6-6 is their ceiling by far.
Yeah,
Yeah, just some of the stuff. Like sometimes the camera just needs to be turned off. Like, is there
yeah,
times when Coach Prime or some of the other dudes are talking, and they're like, are there times that the camera should be on and you're using that to recruit other players? Absolutely, I think it should be an advantage that you're using. But sometimes, man, the camera just needs to be turned off. Like for some of these meetings and how coaches are interacting with players and all this stuff, and so. But I mean, I think they'll be good down the line. They just flipped another 5-star corner from Miami, so they have the two corners inside of the top 10 for the 2020 and 2021 class now on their roster. So, um, like those could be very good players in 2 to 3 years, but or we'll see. Will it come to fruition now? I mean, that's really the biggest
yeah,
question. Can they flip this talent to success now? Which I don't think so. Like I said, I think their ceiling is 6-6. That's being
yeah,
very generous.
right.
Definitely. I mean, we have to see them on the field, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you have 5 stars transferring in and Travis Hunter coming in.
yeah,
One thing that I feel like is kind of getting overlooked is like um, when they're playing at Jackson State and Coach Prime is bringing in the athletes that he brought in there, like um, that's not playing in the SEC. You're not
right.
playing in the Pac-12.
Yeah,
Like you're at Jackson State. So when you have all the you have 5-star athletes, you have 4-star athletes, and no one else does, like that's probably going to be enough to get you by. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
with even without schemes and like defensive play calling and timely turnovers and like all the stuff that leads to a winning football season. Like we haven't seen if like this staff is going to take these 5-star athletes and put them in the Pac-12 and like be able to scheme with these coordinators that have been doing it for a while and like
yeah,
all that kind of thing. Like we haven't seen it on the field yet. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Everyone's got 5-star athletes in the Pac 12. Everyone's got a ton of 4-star athletes in the Pac 12. Like,
yeah,
you're going to be on a level playing field now. And just
yeah.
because you have Travis Hunter doesn't equal a perfect season. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and I think it's really interesting too. I mean, obviously, Coach Sanders' son Shador is going to be the starting quarterback at Colorado, and from their conference before playing at Jackson State, I mean, easily the best quarterback in that conference, easy. But I mean, you look at the Pac-12. I mean, the Pac-12 has the best quarterbacks out of any conference in the country, SEC included. I'm sorry, but I mean, you have Bo Nix, Cam Rising, Michael Penix Jr. I mean, you have the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, like it or not, Caleb Williams. Like, so I mean, he goes from being the best
DJ
quarterback.
going to Oregon State.
DJU.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, DJ. Yeah, like so
Even
he
Cam
you go from
Ward
being
looked like Michael Vick at times.
exactly, man. So like you go from like being the best quarterback in your conference to bottom three, maybe. I mean, I don't know what Arizona and Arizona State have cooking right now, but I mean, like bottom three. I know Cal has that transfer from Purdue. I mean, at least that's another major conference. You know what I mean? Like these are things that matter, and I mean, like the talent, like you said, TC. Everyone's got 5-star recruits in the Pac-12. Everyone's got a fast guy. Like it's just how it is. It's going to be very interesting for sure. But
Also, it's going to be interesting to see Deion Sanders actually have to coach. Like I
right,
said,
right,
he's doing a lot of running around teams in the SWAC or whatever they're in, and so it'll definitely be interesting to see. When he gets toe to toe with Lincoln Riley or Dan Lanning or anyone really. He's got to go. He's got to go play Sonny Dykes and Max Duggan in week 1.
game one,
So
yeah, at TCU or
good
at a
luck with
neutral
that.
site, whatever. Yeah. So
Um, only time's gonna tell. Yeah, and so yeah, they got TCU week 1, and then Oregon to open their conference 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, whatever it is. So
in
at
Oregon.
Oregon, so that's a tall.
Yeah, I
Also,
thought,
go ahead, TC.
no, I just thought it was interesting because um, at some point during, I think it was maybe last year, they were like undefeated or whatever at the time, and the person giving that was interviewing Prime was like, "Oh, you guys ready to go play Alabama?" And he gave a soundbite that was saying like, "My guys aren't ready. We're not just going to get a check for playing Alabama and all this stuff." And like now those kids are going to be playing in the Pac-12. Like even though he just said that they weren't ready to go play Alabama, but now all of a sudden they're ready to go take on Lincoln Riley, or they're ready to come to Oregon, or like whatever the case is. You know what I mean? So like,
Mhm.
I don't even know if he has the confidence in those kids to like come in and do the same thing in the Pac-12. But only time will tell, boys.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting season in the Pac-12 for sure, and we're gonna have plenty of talks about this upcoming season for sure.
Yeah, while we're talking about college football, real quick, the schedules came out, and I don't know exactly how it works or who builds the schedule or anything like that, but whoever built Oregon's, man, they deserve a raise, an
Hmm.
absolute masterclass, man. Like they move Washington up in the year following a bye. So I
Hmm.
think they're the week 7 game following a bye, and then we don't like out of the top 4 teams in the Pac-12, we don't play any 2 of them consecutively. They're always a Cal or a Colorado or someone in between.
Hmm.
No consecutive road games, all kinds of stuff. So I don't know who deserves that shout out, but someone needs to get it. So
Yeah, we're gonna find you on Twitter, and we're gonna make sure you know.
exactly. Anything else to report, boys?
That's about all I had, guys.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm good there. Also, Josh.
Well, then that is effectively going to do it for episode 15 of the Keep It Down podcast, my hot seat edition, boys. So just remember that episode 15, Wrench's hot seat. So Yeah, it was a blast, boys. Thanks for not grilling me too hard. So, yeah, that's
Yeah,
going to
man,
do
it
it.
was a pleasure, man. Easy interview. Probably one of the easiest interviews I've ever done in my life, I'd say.
Yeah,
Oh,
Judge,
man, I
you
had a lot
handled
of
it
fun doing it, man.
like an absolute champ, dude. It was a pleasure interviewing you.
Yeah, so that's, like I said, it's going to do it from us, boys. We'll catch you next Thursday or Friday, I guess, technically. But yeah, and be good people out there. Tell somebody you love them.
Yeah, thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening, everyone.